my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Anna. It has been a hot minute since I have done a booktube video, and I spent the last 2 days in London, and I went to go and see a friend, and we went to the Tate Modern and we went to the British Museum, but we also ended up going to a lot of bookshops. We both love books. We're both also adamant that book shopping and book reading, two separate hobbies, but the truth is we are quite a bad influence on each other when it comes to buying books. So what I thought I would do is that I would go over all of the books that I bought while I was in London as a haul video.
I've been thinking about myself today, thinking how I changed.
I normally actually really enjoy the book collections that you can find in the gift shops of galleries and museums, and there were some really good and interesting looking children's books in the Tate Modern, but honestly the adult selection let me down a little bit. There were lots of them, but they kind of all felt very samey and were like ridiculously expensive, even for a gift shop.
I really don't care if you are here or if you don't stay.
After the Tate Modern, we had planned to go to Cecil Court because my friend that I was visiting had seen on TikTok a video of people going to Cecil Court, which is this absolutely gorgeous Victorian fronted bookshops like street, and they're all dedicated to like antiques, like books and objects, but mostly books. So we were walking there and we accidentally stumbled across a absolutely massive second-hand bookstore on South Bank, and when I tell you the selection here was incredible, it was huge. There were so many people there as well, and they all seemed to be finding things that they thought were interesting. So the first book that I got from this trip was from that stall, and I got this collection of classic fairy tales. Now, I actually had this book when I was a child, and my sister and I shared it, and we both absolutely loved it. It's more of like the traditional tellings of the fairy tales, a lot more like Hans Christian Andersen and Brothers Grimm's types of fairy tales. It's absolutely like stunningly designed, and they're just trying. So there's a lot of this sort of paper cut art, but there's also, and this gives me so much nostalgia. So my sister and I shared a copy, and she's got the copy that we had as a child, and I've never ever seen this anywhere else, and I found it and it was $4.99 and it's in such good condition, and just for the sake of nostalgia I had to. And honestly, the amount of serotonin that I've gotten from finding this is high.
You remember that night we met? I thought you looked so fine.
We then made our way to Cecil Court. I went in all the shops and there were lots and lots of things that I was interested in, but honestly the antique books, they were like first editions and stuff, and while they were really cool to look at and really exciting and really suited the like dark academia aesthetic, they were very much out of my budget. However, there was this one bookstore which looks deceptive from the outside. It looks like it's a magic shop, and while a lot of the books in there are to do with like magic and mysticism and things like that, for me, I'm really interested, if you can't tell, in like folklore and fairy tales and like stories that just exist within cultures, and they had a lot of books in there that I've never seen before that were about that, and they had some really gorgeous editions. So in here I had the book I ended up deciding on, but when I tell you that I went in and out of this shop and like wandered around it contemplating which one to get, I ended up getting this one, Treasury of Folklore, Woodlands and Forests, and it's absolutely stunning. I'm actually going to have it from my brother for my birthday, because for like big birthdays I really like to have collectible books from people, and I'll get them to like write little inscriptions in the front, and normally people just like ask me to pick out the books because they know that I really want to keep them and that they mean a lot to me. So I'm not actually allowed to read this one yet, but I can appreciate how gorgeous it is. And on the inside it has this sort of, again, like a paper cut design, and they're all absolutely beautiful, and the tales seem like they're going to be really interesting. There are some that are like what you would expect. There's werewolves, there's Red Riding Hood and things like that, but there are some in here that I've not heard of before. There's like sections on the worship of bears and the quest for the unicorn, and you know, it's from a lot of different backgrounds culturally, and I really like that. An enthralling collection of myths, folktales and traditions surrounding our trees, woodlands and forests from around the world. From the dark, gnarled woodlands of the north to the humid jungles of the tropics, trees have captured humanity's imagination for millennia. Filled with ancient gods and goddesses, tree spirits and the fairy tales of old, the forests offer sanctuary, mystery and more than a little mischievous trickery. From insatiable cannibalistic children, oh my gosh, hewn from logs, to the spine-chilling tale of Baba Yaga, there is much to be found between the branches. Come into the trees, witches, goddesses, and big bad wolves await you. Okay, this one is cheating a little bit because A, it's not from London, and B, it's not a book. But my friend had gone to Bath before she came to London to see me, and she had gone to Persephone Books, and Persephone Books is an absolutely fantastic bookshop. She bought me the biannually, and this is full of short stories and poetry and articles on books and art, and so I'm really excited to read it, and I just thought I would share it and I would shout out Persephone Books. If you've never heard of them, I would check them out. So personally, I think I was quite restrained on the first day, getting only 2 books, one of which was secondhand and was, you know, very dear to my heart, and the second one which is going away for a birthday present. All of that all went out the window on the second day. Once I started, I could not stop. Once I had allowed myself to make a purchase, my heart just wanted to go and go and go. And my friend kept encouraging it because she also loves books. And to be honest, I was also encouraging them. So yeah, so we have quite a big bag of books from this day.
Yes, we have to agree to disagree for this one last time.
This tote bag itself is also new and from the trip, and if you know me, you know that I love a tote bag, and this one was only £3.50 and it's so cute. And I got this little Greek vase badge from the British Museum, and I also got this badge for £1 from one of the bookshops. So Gaze the Word bookshop. British Museum, if you don't know, has its own bookshop, and it wraps around like most of the centre court, and it is full of really interesting books. The first thing that I got was in the sale section, and it was £1. Okay, and I love art books, I love to learn about art movements, and I'd never read anything on the history or art of the postcard, and it was £1. So I did it. I also thought that, like, if I didn't actually find the book interesting, I could scrapbook the postcards from in it, like I could cut them out, because I really love scrapbooking. The second book that I got is The Celtic Myths That Shape the Way We Think. Events of Celtic mythology have been retold and reinterpreted for millennia, shape-shifting through the ages and spreading across the world. Medieval specialist Mark Williams takes a fresh look at the stories at the heart of this ancient mythology, capturing the beauty of the tales that have shaped our artistic and literary canons and continue to inspire today. How is it that these figures are so familiar to us, though they come from a world very different from our own? How did King Arthur, first name in early Welsh chronicles and poetry, become, paradoxically, the archetypal English hero? Williams interrogates the roots of the myths that have had the greatest cultural impact, leaving their mark on everything from the modern fantasy genre to nationalist ideology. Inside is also like all Celtic knotwork, and you also have this embossed on the cover. I just think it's so pretty. However, more than its beauty, because I'm not completely bound to aesthetics, even though they do kind of govern most of my life choices. I really am interested in Celtic mythology and Norse mythology, If you can't tell, I'm really into that sort of thing. I think the book haul is kind of proving that, and so does my YouTube channel in general. Anyway, this is all about how the Celtic myths have shaped who we are, shaped cultural identities, shaped individuality, shaped how we think, how we write stories, and I'm really excited for that because I'm a big believer in that fairy tales and mythology and folklore, they all radiate into the present, even if we're not like conscious of it. They're in everyone's kind of mind and we carry that with us. I'm also taking the medieval supernatural paper next year, and I tried to convince myself that this would be helpful academically. Whenever I want to get a book on folklore, I always like mentally tell myself that it will be for my degree, because it's like me internally trying to justify purchasing it. I actually think it will be helpful. I wasn't just lying to myself in order to buy it. Accidentally stumbled across this bookshop when we were actually walking to the British Library. We did not end up going to the British Library because we got caught up in all of these bookshops that we accidentally found. When I tell you that I had an absolute moment when we stumbled across this bookshop, it's in the movie Pride, which is one of my absolutely favourite movies ever, and it's just incredible. If you haven't watched it, please do yourself a favour and watch it. It's based on the true life story of Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners, which was a charity run from the bookshop by a group of people wanting to support the miners during the strikes. Being able to actually go to that bookshop and see all of these posters all over the walls about LGBT experiences and lives, and seeing the bookshop just filled with these books about those same lives and identities, both fiction and non-fiction, was just an incredible experience and so validating for me. I literally was just staring at all of the books, wanting to take them all home with me. It made me just so joyous. I had to like fight myself with which books to get because by this point I'd already spent far too much money. The first book that I decided on is this one called Blue, and not only is it absolutely stunning, because we both know I love a beautiful book. Like just take a minute to appreciate it. But I was truly sold by the fact that it has to do with the gay scene in academia, specifically the gay scene in Cambridge. So I'm just going to read the blurb for you. Cambridge, 1994. Professor Don Lamb is a revered art historian at the height of his powers, consumed by the book he is writing about the skies of the Venetian master Tiepolo. I probably absolutely butchered that, I'm so sorry. However, his academic brilliance belies a deep inexperience of life and love. One day, a piece of contemporary art is installed on the lawn of his college. Don becomes obsessed with it, his anger eventually erupting in a public blunder that results in his expulsion from Cambridge. He moves to London to take up a role at a museum. There he befriends Ben, a young artist who draws him into the 90s British art scene and the nightlife of Soho. Over the course of the long, hot summer of 1995, Don glimpses a liberating new existence, but his epiphany is also a moment of reckoning, as his oldest friendship, as well as his own unexamined past, is revealed to him in a devastating new light. When I went to go and pay for this, I also stumbled across this tiny book of Sappho's fragments. I have been looking for a collection of Sappho's poetry for a while now, and this one was £2. So needless to say, it quickly went in my basket. The last bookshop was another accident. It was called Judd's Books, and again, it was a second-hand bookshop. In this case, I got two that were definitely for academia. They had a really good deal outside. It was like one book for £1.50 or four for £4.50 or something like that. However, the ones inside were also on a really good deal, and honestly, the amount of books in this shop was incredible for secondhand books, and they had such a range. They had like fiction, they had non-fiction, they had some really amazing titles in there. They had a lot of Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, and I literally convinced a complete stranger to buy it because she was umming and ahhing about it, and I just like, I don't know what came across me. I was just like, It's so good, and I convinced her to get it, and I really hope she likes it. Like, there's this stranger out there who's taken my reading recommendation, which I suppose some of you might do as well. Oh my god, please don't hold me accountable if you don't like it. Susan Sontag's On Photography, which is a non-fiction book. I really enjoy Susan Sontag's criticism. Her Notes on Camp essay is one of my favourite critical essays that I've ever read. This book is on my reading list for my second dissertation for next year, so I thought I would pick it up so that I can highlight it, I can scribble on it, and it's honestly in just like such good condition for a second-hand book. Photographs are everywhere. From high art to family albums to legal advice, they capture and document the world around us, and whether we use them to expose, reveal, or remember, they hold an enduring power. In this essential and revelatory volume, Susan Sontag confronts important questions surrounding the power dynamics between photographer and subject, the blurred boundary between lived events and recreated images, and the desires that lead us to record our lives. If you haven't ever read any of her essays and you're interested in essays, I really would recommend giving her a go. And then I also got a selection of John Skelton poetry. Now, I have been told to read John Skelton's poetry by literally almost every medieval professor that I have come across at university, because I am a medievalist and Skelton is an important poet in that period. So I thought I would grab a collection while I saw it, because I literally have been trying to find Skelton's poetry for a reasonable price for like a whole year, and we found it. So, and that is it. That is my book haul from the last 2 days in London. Holding them all together, I think I have a problem. Like, this is intense. Though I'm really looking forward to reading all them, to be honest. So I'm not that mad about it. My bank account maybe, but you know, I'll just go on a book buying ban for a while. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Maybe there's a book here that you've been inspired to pick up yourself, or a bookshop that you've decided that you'd like now to visit. Let me know down in the comments if you've read anything interesting lately or got a new book. Though maybe not, if I'm just going on a book buying ban. Oh well, I'd like to hear about it. If you're new here, please do subscribe, and if you've liked this video, please give it a like. I'll see you again very soon. Bye!